Hello students, myself Dr. Shupana, Assistant Professor in the Department of Chemistry, Brainware University. Today I shall discuss about a very important topic of environmental studies, food chain, food web and ecological pyramid. First of all, we have to study about ecosystem. What do you mean by ecosystem? Ecosystem is a community of living organisms interacting with each other and with their physical environment. Now, what is component? Actually, components present in our environment can be categorized into two major parts. First one is biotic component and second one is abiotic component. Biotic component means living organisms because bio means life. So biotic components mean uh, living organisms like different kind of plants, animals, birds, microorganisms, human beings, etc. Now, what is abiotic component? Abiotic components mean different non-living things like air, water, soil, sunlight. Now, components of environment. Component of environment means there are different type of components, biotic components and abiotic components, and you can see in this table biotic factors or biotic components are categorized in two major parts, autotrophs and heterotrophs. Autotrophs means producers who can produce their food itself, and heterotrophs means consumer, that means who depend on producers. Now heterotrophs or consumers can be divided into two major parts, macro consumer or micro consumer. Macro consumer means large objects and micro consumer means very tiny living organisms like bacteria, fungi, etc. and they are known as decomposers. Now the macro consumers are categorized as primary consumers who are known as herbivore, secondary consumer that means carnivore, and tertiary consumer who are also known as carnivore and quaternary consumers. Now abiotic factors. Abiotic factors means, as I have already said, non-living components. So these are categorized as physical factors, inorganic factors, organic factors and topographic factors. Physical factors. Physical factors means light, air, temperature, water, etc. Inorganic factor means water, soil, minerals, etc. Organic factor means carbohydrate, proteins, urea, ammonia, etc. Topographic factor means altitude, slope, position, direction of mountains, etc. Now these are the components of our environment. Next, food chain. Food chain. What is food chain? Food chain is a linear sequence through which nutrients and energy pass from one organism to another. For example, suppose grass. Grass is producer. So green grass is producer. Now grass can be eaten by grasshopper. So grasshopper is primary consumer. Then grasshopper can be eaten by frog. Frog can be eaten by snake and snake eaten by hog. So all these grasshopper, frog, snake, hawk, all of these are consumers and grass is producer. So one living organism is dependent on other organism. Grasshopper is dependent on grass, frog is dependent on grasshopper, and this is a linear sequence that is known as food chain. So here in this picture you can see the food chain. Grass producer, then grasshopper primary consumer, then bird secondary consumer, then snake tertiary consumer, then owl apex predator, and then mushroom. Mushroom here is decomposer. That means after death, decomposer will decompose the dead body. So this is whole about food chain. Now the third one is parasitic food chain. Parasitic food chain means there will be any one parasite present in this type of food chain. Here one example is given. Suppose tree is producer, then bird, and there are so many leases present in the body of bird. So from bird to leases and then hyper parasites. So in this food chain, parasite must be present. So that this type of food chain is known as parasitic chain. Next slide is based on food web. Now what is food web? Food web is a network of interconnected food chain within an ecosystem. Now what is the importance of food chain? Number one, importance of food chain or food web. Number one, food webs maintain ecological balance by regulating species populations and energy flow within the ecosystem. In this picture, you can see the food web. So, food web consists a large number of food chain. And the second importance, food webs enhance ecosystem stability by providing alternative feeding pathways among organisms. Thirdly, food webs reduce dependence on a single food source by offering multiple feeding options. Number 4, food webs help organisms survive environmental changes by providing alternative sources of food. In this picture, you can see the plants are actually producer and the consumers may be grasshopper, may be rabbit. These are the primary consumer. Then in the second level or secondary consumer may be fox. So rabbit can be eaten by fox or rabbit can be eaten by snake, etc. So there are so many food chains present in the food web. Next important thing, ecological pyramid. Now what is ecological pyramid? Ecological pyramid is actually a graphical representation of different trophic levels which can show energy, biomass or number of organisms. So there are 3 types of ecological pyramid. Number 1, pyramid of numbers, pyramid of biomass and pyramid of energy. So in this picture you can see the pyramid of number, and there are 2 types of pyramid. One is upright pyramid and the second one is inverted pyramid. In case of upright pyramid, in the first trophic level the number of living organisms are more than the second level and then the third level, and the number of living organisms present in the second trophic level is more than that of third level. So this is upright pyramid. In this picture you can see in the first trophic level there are green plants. In the second trophic level, that means primary consumers are so many giraffes, and in the third level, secondary consumer, it is lion. So number of producer is much more than the number of giraffes, and the number of giraffes are much more than the number of lions. So this is upright pyramid of number. In the second picture, you can see inverted pyramid of number. First trophic level indicates producer, then herbivores, then parasites, and at last hyperparasites. So number of parasites are more than the number of herbivores, and number of hyperparasites are more than that of number of parasites. So this is inverted pyramid of number. In this slide, this is pyramid of biomass. Here also, the first one is inverted pyramid and the second one is upright pyramid. In case of inverted pyramid, producer, first one is producer, phytoplankton, second one herbivores, zooplankton, then primary consumers, small fishes, and then secondary consumers, large fishes. In the upright pyramid, the second picture, in the first trophic level, producers, then primary consumers, then secondary consumers, and at last tertiary consumers. That means grasses, then grasshopper, then snake, then eagle. And the number of living organisms in the upright pyramid gradually decreases. That means their biomass also gradually decreases. Biomass means total dry weight in a trophic level. Here, this is the pyramid of energy. First trophic level, there are some producers, then grasshopper, primary consumers, then secondary consumers, and then tertiary consumers. And energy will flow from producers to consumers. Here, one important thing is 10% rule. That means if in case of producers, if the producers have 10,000 kilojoule energy in the next trophic level, that means primary consumers will have 1000 kilojoule energy. So only 10% of energy will transmit from first trophic level to second trophic, and so only 10% energy will transmit from one level to next trophic level. So this rule is known as 10% rule. And here the energy flow will be unidirectional because the energy will flow from producers to primary consumer, then secondary consumer, then to tertiary consumers. So this is all about food chain, food web, and ecological pyramids. And at last, the conclusion, we may conclude like this. Food chains represent linear feeding relationship. Food webs show interconnected feeding relationship. And ecological pyramids illustrate energy, biomass, and organism numbers. And energy decreases at higher trophic levels. These concepts help explain ecosystem structure and stability. And this is all about our food chain, food web, and ecological pyramid. Thank you.